So welcome back again, and in the previous session we have discussed about the data provider, and we have seen that how a data provider can be used to provide huge amount of data to the test case, and that we done by means of two-dimensional object array. Okay, but as we have talked about that source of data can be anything. Okay, source of data can be Excel sheet, source of data can be Word file, sorry, not Word file. Source of data can be CSV file, source of data can be PDF file, source of data can be database, and so on. Okay, so source of data can be anything here. Okay, so let us imagine that your test data is in the Excel sheet, because Excel sheets are the very good choice to save your test data, as well as the CSV files also. Okay, where you have huge amount of test data, we can save that test data inside .xls file, or maybe .xlsx file. Okay, or maybe in the CSV file, that is comma separated values. But in this session, what we are going to do is we are going to deal with the Excel files. Okay, we are going to extract data from Excel file, and we are going to provide that data to our test cases by means of data provider. Okay, so in today's session, what we are going to discuss is reading data from Excel sheet. Okay, so I'll call it as reading test data. Okay, reading test data from Excel sheet and providing it to the test case by means of data provider. Okay, data provider. That's it. So this is what we are going to see in today's session. Okay, so let's try to simplify this first. So let me show you what we are going to do actually. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to read. Now we have a test case, so let me draw a logical representation of everything. So we have a test case over here, okay, which needs to be executed. Now we have a data provider. Okay, we have a data provider, sorry for the drawing. Data provider, okay, and then we have a test case. A test case we have. Now our test data is residing in the .xls file or Excel document, Microsoft Excel document. Okay, so this document usually have the rows and columns format, right? Rows and different columns. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to get data from this Excel sheet, and then we are going to provide that data from Excel to the data provider, and data provider will provide that data to the test case on iterative basis. That is one by one. Okay, so today's task is to read this Excel file. Okay, because so far we have seen what is data provider, we have seen how to write a test case using the test ng, but we haven't seen how to handle these Excel files. So in today's session, what we are going to do is we are going to see how to handle Excel files. Okay, this is what we are going to talk about. So handling Excel files is the topic for today. Handling Excel files. Handling Excel files. Okay, so this is the topic for the day, and in this topic what we are going to discuss is how we can read data from the Excel files. There are different extensions available for the Excel files. They are XLS and .xlsx. Then we will talk about the differences between them, both of them, and then we will see how to handle both the files, both of extensions. Okay, before starting with the topic, let me discuss that how actually the Excel files look like. Okay, so in a very easy manner we will say that every Excel file can be seen as a workbook. Okay, it is a workbook. Under this workbook, okay, under this file we have different sheets. Okay, there are lots of sheets. There can be n number of, not n but finite number of sheets in this workbook. Okay, sheet 1, sheet 2, and so on. Okay, under every sheet we actually have rows and columns. Okay, under every sheet we have rows, okay, and columns. Okay, and combination of row, okay, this is one row, and combination of cell, column, okay, this area is called as cell. For the sake of programming we are talking, right? This is a cell. This is called as cell. Okay, cell. Now this cell actually contains the data. Okay, cell actually contains data. So how the structure becomes a workbook? Okay, a workbook. Okay, and then we have sheets, multiple sheets. Under sheets we have rows and columns. Where row and column meets, we call that area as a cell, and each cell consists actual data. Okay, now to handle Excel files we have to go to the book first, book of our interest. Okay, then we have to jump on the sheet in which the data is stored, and then we have to jump on the column and rows, okay, of our choice, and then we should jump on the cell and we should get the data from the cell. That is the basic flow of the program should be. Okay, now we know that how the structure of Excel files are. Okay, and what are the contents of the Excel workbook? Under one workbook we have several sheets. Under sheets we have rows and columns, and where the rows and columns meet we call that place as a cell, and cell contains the actual data. So let me show you the sample file, Excel file that we have over here, and we will talk more about it. Okay, so let me tell you that GRE system library doesn't have any class. Okay, doesn't have any class which will help us to handle Excel files. Okay, GRE system library doesn't have any sort of, okay, so let me delete this one, any sort of classes or abstract classes or interfaces which will help us to handle Excel files. So what we have is, so we should rely on third-party libraries. Okay, we should rely on third-party libraries. Now what kind of third-party libraries we have? Okay, what kind of third-party libraries we have? So first we have is JXL, that is Java Excel. Okay, Java Excel. And next library we have is Apache POI. Okay, this is the library we have. These are the two libraries that we have to handle the Excel files. Okay, now what is the difference between them? So let me quickly draw a difference table. Okay, and let's delete this column. So let me restructure it nicely. Serial number and JXL and Apache POI. So we are going to have a look at the difference between them. Okay, so first difference between them. So which one we should use, which one we should not use. Okay, this is what we are going to discuss today. So first we have is JXL. Okay, and next we have is Apache POI. Now JXL can be used to read only .xls files. Okay, they are usually Microsoft Excel files, which has version from 97 to 2003. Okay, so whatever file formats fall under this category can be read using the JXL, whereas on the other hand Apache POI can be used to read .xls, okay, as well as .xlsx, that is the latest format that we have, then PPT, okay, PPTX, Word, WordX, and so on. Okay, so there are, sorry, WordX. So there are so many formats which Apache POI can handle or can read or write. Okay, so this is the basic difference. So you can see by means of this difference that Apache POI is far better than JXL. Okay, but on the other hand, JXL is again lightweight, and whereas Apache POI is a bulky in nature. It has lots of classes and lots of things are there. Lots of jar you need to include supportive jars. Okay, so we have to get a jar of this again. This for this also we need to get a jar. Then what next comes is this is the basic difference actually. JXL and Apache POI. This is the very basic difference, and this difference is worth of telling you people, because from this difference you can easily identify that JXL is having a limited use, whereas Apache POI is having a huge area of application. Okay, but in this session we are going to see both of them. So first we are going to use JXL to handle the Excel files. Then we will see how we can use Apache POI to handle the Excel files. Okay, let's say your project is dealing with the old versions of the .xls files. Okay, in that case obviously you can go for the JXL. But if you feel that your project is kind of updated and it has lots of things which are coming in the latest .xlsx files only, so in that case you should go for the Apache POI. So you can see that JXL is having this disadvantage. Okay, what is the disadvantage? It cannot read .xlsx files. Okay, it cannot read .xlsx files. So this is the basic difference between both of them. JXL, Java JXL and Apache POI. So to start up with the JXL, what we need to do is we need to download the jar file of it. And how we can download the jar file of it? So simply go over here in the Maven repository, and search here for the JXL. Okay, JXL. Here are the SourceForge. Okay, net.sourceforge. This is the URL it has. And here we can see there are so many different versions available, but 2.6.12 is the stable version at the time of this video. It may get updated in coming future. So from here we need to download the jar file. So if you simply click on this link, it will download the jar file of JXL 2.6.12 in a simple sense. That's it. I already have downloaded this jar file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new Eclipse project over here, new Java project. And here in this Java project, I'm going to name this project as Excel handling. Perfect, Excel handling. Under this project, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new package using JXL. That's it. Under this package, let me create one class, JXL demo. JXL demo is the name of class. That's it. The basic structure is prepared: project, package, and the class. Now let me build my project using the jar of JXL. So how we can do that? Right click on project, go to properties, go to Java build path, click on add external jars. Then inside jars, I have JXL jar over here. Simply click on OK, click on apply and OK again. That's it. Now our project is configured with the library JXL 2.6.12. That's it. But we are going to need the test-ng also. So what we are going to do is we are going to add the test-ng jar also. So we know how to build our project with the test-ng jar because in the previous session we have seen that. So let me quickly have a look at this documents and test-ng. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Click on apply and OK, and that's it. We are done. Let me zoom this class in. Okay, this is the first class that we are going to create. So let me create a main method over here. Okay, let me create a main method. We have created the main method. So from here we are going to start our program actually. So what we are doing is we are writing a program to read data from Excel file. For that we need to create the Excel file, okay, which I already have created over here, and I have opened that document here. So in this document you can see, so let me, okay, perfect. Now in this document we have several entries. Okay, now we should understand the basic structure of this workbook. So this entire workbook with name test JXL contains one sheet, and its name is sheet 1. Every sheet has name as well as index. Index always starts from the 0, and name always starts, the default name always starts from the sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and so on. But you can also rename these sheets as per your choice. So I'm giving it name as a test, for example. Okay, that's it. Now this sheet is having rows 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and columns A, B, C, D, and so on. So in the Excel files, rows are numbered. Okay, rows are numbered, whereas columns are identified by the characters, right from A to Z, and then again A B, A C, and so on. So this is how they are arranged. Now, in every Excel file, we have active rows and we have active columns. Now, what do you mean by active rows and active columns? Now, active rows are rows which actually has data in them. Okay, and what is mean by active columns? They are columns which actually has data. Means we can simply say that active row and active column is something which has data in them. So here active rows are these many, okay, whereas active columns are these many, A to D. So these are the active columns. Now these rows will be considered as inactive, and these columns will be considered as inactive. Why? Because they don't have any data in them. So what we need to do is we need to read the content from active cells only. Okay. Now on behalf of us, JXL automatically identifies that which row and which column has data in them. Okay. So let us start with the assignment of reading data from the Excel file using the JXL. So to start with the code, what we need to do is we need to create a reference variable of workbook abstract class. Okay, this is the abstract class that we have inside JXL. So let's import it. Perfect, it's imported. And then what we need to do is workbook dot get workbook. Here we need to pass the file class instance. Okay, so we should simply create an instance of file class. So there are two ways to do that. Okay, so this is one way through which I can do I can create the instance of file class. Okay, perfect. So let us import this one, java.io. Perfect. Now it is asking to handle the exceptions, but we have to provide the file path over here. So what we need to do is we need to provide the file path of this test JXL file. Okay, now how we can provide the file path? So if you are in a Windows operating system, simply press and hold shift key and then right click on this file. Okay, there you will have the option copy as path. Okay, but if you are in a Mac, then simply go to get info, and from here you will find the location of that particular file. So where, this is the location, bootcamp assignments, this is the location. So what we need to do here is we need to provide this location along with the file name itself, testjxl dot xls. This is the extension. So observe over here on the disk. Okay, what is the extension of this file is xls. Okay, not xlsx. Can you see over here? This is the xls file. Okay, now we have given the path of entire file. This is the relative path. Now we know what is mean by relative path and absolute path? So in a short, let me tell you, relative path is the path of the document right from the root, whereas absolute path is the path of document, okay, right from the parent. Okay, that is absolute path. And what is relative path? Relative path is immediate path to the document that we want to refer to. This is how we have created the instance of file class over here, and we have passed that instance into the get workbook method of workbook abstract class. Remember, a workbook is abstract class. That is why you cannot create object of it. So let me surround it with multiple try and catch. Perfect. And here we will give some error saying, okay, we will give some error saying unable to open Excel file. And what is the file that we are going to open? It is the file that we have mentioned over here. That's it. So we are not going to give the name of file over here. That's it. Perfect. That's it. So we have referred to the XLS file. Okay, we have referred to the .xls file by means of workbook abstract class reference variable. Okay, workbook is the abstract class present in JXL. Okay, workbook is the abstract class present in JXL. So let me quickly write down classes of JXL. Perfect. And first one we have is workbook. So let me write down the short description of it. This is abstract class of JXL. It is used to refer to the workbook of type .xls only, right? That's it. So we have referred to the workbook of our choice by means of file, class, object. Then what is next? We need to refer to the sheet of our choice. Now how we can do that? So for that we have sheet here, and that is the interface of JXL. Okay, book dot, why book dot? Because workbook class has a method called as get sheet. Okay, get sheet, and this method is overloaded. Okay, one version of this method takes index of the sheet that we want to read, and another version of this method gets uh, the name of the sheet that we want to read, and here the name of sheet is test. Okay, so either we can pass the index of the sheet, or we can pass the name of the sheet that we want to read. Now we have pointed to the sheet of our choice by means of sheet interface reference variable. Okay, so sheet is again interface of JXL. So let me write down that sheet. Okay, this is an interface of JXL. Okay, this is an interface of JXL, and it is used to refer to the sheet of our choice. Okay, now workbook abstract class has method get sheet. Okay, get sheet. This method is overloaded to accept integer index of sheet and string name of the sheet. That's it. So this is the single line description of workbook class get method. Okay, get sheet method. That's it. So we have started pointing to the sheet. Now what we need to do is we need to get a data out of the cell. So let us start reading. This is the 0th column, first column, second column, and third column. So there are 4 columns, and last column number is 3, whereas this is 0th row, first row, second row, and third row. Now remember, we are not considering the order of Excel file. We are considering the order in which JXL can read the rows and columns. So row always starts from the 0 for JXL, whereas row always starts from the 1 for Excel files. Okay, this is the difference. So let us try printing the content of any cell. So how we can print the content of any cell? So for that we need to call the method sheet dot get cell. Okay, can you see get cell? And here get cell method is obviously again overloaded. So second one we are going to use where we are going to give the row number. Okay, so let's say 0, and the column number, and let's say that is 0. So here this is the 0th number row and this is the 0th number column, and where the row and column meets, that place is called a cell, and this cell contains SR number. This is the string this cell contains. Now if we execute this program, it is going to print serial number. So let's execute this program. Perfect. Okay, it's saying no such file or directory. So let me quickly copy this file from here and let us create a folder with the name input, and in this folder we are going to paste this one. Okay, and let's write down the name over here, input. That's it. So let me close the existing file first. And let me take the path variable over here. So it might be asking to save the file. Yep, perfect. String path is equals to system dot get property user dot dir, and we're going to mention the path plus. That's it. So let us refresh this project one more time. And let's now execute this program again. So here what we need to do is we need to print the content of the cell data by using the system.out.println method. Here we are going to say sheet dot get cell, and we are going to pass the 0 through 0th column dot get contents is the method that we have. Okay, fine. Now let's execute this method. And can you see over here serial number is printed. So this is how you can print the single value from the Excel sheet. But most of time what happens is we need to print multiple values or maybe all of the values from the Excel sheet. So in that case what we need to do is we need to iterate using the loops inside the entire Excel file. So we have the rows and columns over there. So we should have a knowledge that how many active rows are there, how many active columns are there. So how we can recognize them? So simply create variables over here int rows. Okay, and inside sheet interface we have a method get rows. Okay, get rows. This is the name of method we have. Now its return type is integer and it will return the number of rows which actually has value. Okay, and next method we have is sheet.get columns. So these are the two methods that we have. Now we have active rows, number of active rows and number of active columns. So let me show you that how many rows and columns are there. So rows, how many rows are there? Rows, okay, plus slash t plus columns plus calls. So let me show you that how many rows and columns are present in our Excel sheet. Okay, so 4 rows and 4 columns are there. So let me show you that does it really have the 4 rows and 4 columns in it. Okay, now we have active rows and active columns present inside the Excel sheet. Can you see over here? See, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Okay, 4 rows and 4 columns we have in it. Now we have rows and columns. Now we already know the logic of iterating through the two-dimensional array. Okay, now you can apply the same logic over here. So I'm going to write a for loop. Okay, int I is equals to 0. I'm going to start from the 0 and I'm going to end it with the rows. And then I plus plus. Simply, I'm going to iterate through the row. Now, from the first row, we need to get all the values from different cells. So for that also, we need one more for loop. Okay, one more for loop to iterate the columns. Now we will call it as j equal to 0 and j is less than columns, whereas j plus plus. That's it. So these are the two for loops that we have written over here. Now inside this for loop, what we need to do is we need to again write system.out.println, and inside this what we need to do is we need to call the method of sheet interface, and the name of method is getCell. What this method does is getCell method returns the cell at specified row and column position. So here I'm going to give the row position represented by I here in the loop, and the column position, that is j, represented by the j. Now getCell method will return a reference variable of type cell. Okay, so return type of getCell method is cell. So sheet interface has method. What is the name of method? getCell. Okay, getCell. This method is overloaded. Okay, this method returns cell reference variable of type cell. Okay, so it will give the cell to us. Now we want to extract content from this cell, so this method is going to return a cell to us. So let us try to simplify this. So let us create a reference variable of type cell and call a method sheet.getCell, and here pass the I and j, that is row and column. That's it. Now we have the cell here in the cell reference variable. Now we want to get the content from this cell. So how we can do that? We have a method inside cell interface, and the name of method is getContents. Okay, getContents. So whatever content is there in the cell represented by this row and this column will be returned as a string only. So second disadvantage of JXL, having JXL, is it returns or it reads values from Excel files as string only. Okay, so type safety is not provided here, but Apache POI can read files from can read values from Excel sheet as string, number, okay, then blank, as well as boolean, and formulas also. Okay, so it perfectly identifies that what kind of value is there inside the cell. So it is obviously identified by the Apache POI, but JXL cannot identify the type of data present inside the cell. So type safety is provided over here in the Apache POI, whereas JXL can read the values as a string only. So if you want to operate something upon the Excel sheet data, in that case you have to typecast them. Let's say you have a salary in the Excel sheet and you want to increment the salary by 5%. Okay, so here the mathematical calculation is coming in the picture, but you cannot do that using the JXL. For that you need to typecast the string value inside integer, and then you need to perform the mathematical operation. But what usually happens in such kind of typecasting is there is a chance of loss of data, so it is not recommended to go for the JXL. But for the sake of study, we are studying this JXL also. So this is the program to print the entire content of the Excel sheet on the console. Okay, now let us see that how the output comes. Now output will come line by line over here. Why? Because we have given the system.out.println. So every content will be printed on a new line. Okay, so let us see. Can you see? Rows 4, columns 4, serial number is printed first. Okay, let's observe. Serial number is printed first. Then row is changed. 1 is printed next. Okay, then next 2 is printed, and then next 3 is printed. Okay, this is how it started printing everything over here. But here we need to reverse them. J should come first and then I should come first next. Now let's execute one more time. Okay, serial name, and then name, and then phone number, and then city. These are the column names printed first. Then the content started printing. Okay, but they are appearing line by line. Let us organize them on the console itself. So how we can organize them? Instead of println, let me write a print so that it will print the contents on the same line separated by tab. Okay, and once the first row ends up, we are going to start printing the new line. That's it. That's it. Now this is the format exactly what is there in the Excel sheet. Serial number, name, phone number, and city. And then 1, 2, 3, and then these are the names and phone numbers and cities mentioned over here. So this is how we can read the data from Excel sheet, and we can actually handle the Excel sheet using this JXL library. Okay. Now the question comes in, how we can pass this data to the data provider. How we can pass this data to the data provider. Now let us see how we can pass the data to the data provider. So for that, this main method, okay, so instead of writing a main method, let me give this method as a name, public void. Let's call this method as static again, public void read Excel. Okay, read Excel. This is the name of method that we are going to give here. So we have changed the name of method and its return type is still void. Okay, instead of printing the content, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the content inside two-dimensional array, string array. Okay, string content is equals to new string, and let us create the string variable below here. Why? Because we need to create a string object, sorry, string array exactly of size row and columns. Okay, so we will pass rows and, sorry, columns here. That's it. So we have created a two-dimensional string array, and its name is contain, and it has a size exactly same as the size of the Excel sheet. Okay, now let us pass the value from this cell inside the content array. So how we can do that? So simply write here content is equals to, sorry, content of I comma j is equals to uh, cell dot get contents. That's it. So one by one, all of the values will be copied inside this array. Now what we need to do is we need to return this entire array. So how we can do that? So simply here at the last line of the method, we should write return content. Okay. But the return type of our method is still void. So we need to change that to the string array, two-dimensional array. That's it. The method is pretty good. It has no errors. Can you see? So let us create this content out of the try because it is considering this as a local variable. So its scope should be more. That's it. Perfect. It will ask us to initialize it. So we are going to see it as a null initially. Perfect. So this is the program that we have done. Now read Excel method will what it will do? Read Excel method will read the entire Excel file and load the Excel file inside the string two-dimensional array, and its name is content. Okay, that's it. This method is ready to serve. Now let us create inside src, let us create a package called as test cases. Okay, this is the package that we have created. Inside this package, I'm going to create a class with name sample test. Sample test. That's it. Inside this class, what we are going to do is we are going to write a test case. Okay, let's say its name is M1. Public void M1. This is the test case, so I'm going to mark it as a @test. That's it. So let us import this annotation. Perfect. This is the test case. A simple, very simple test case. Now we want to provide data to this test case. So for that, let us create one more package, and its name is data. We'll say test data providers. Okay. And inside this package, I'm going to create one more class, and I'm going to give any name to this class. For example, data providers. Okay, perfect. Now inside this class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, let's say, basic info provider. This is the name of method I'm going to create over here, and this is the public method, and this method is going to be a data provider. So I'm going to mark it as data provider, and I'm going to give this name as a basic info provider. Basic info provider. That's it. So this is the method which is going to provide data to the test case. Now our task is to read the data from Excel sheet and to pass the data to the test case. So in a very simple sense, let me tell you what I did over here. I have created a class which will have test cases. I have created a separate class which will consist only data providers. Okay. I have created a separate class which will handle the Excel sheets. Okay, and this method is static, public static. So without creating object, I can call this method. So let us call this method over here. Okay, let us call this method read, sorry, JXL demo dot read Excel. That's it. But we know that this method returns two-dimensional string array. So let us create one over here. String data is equals to. That's it. Now we have seen that what are the rules for the data provider method. So data provider method's return type should always be two-dimensional array. Okay. Now it can be of any kind of array object, obviously. So let us add the return statement over here. That's it. So we have given the return type to this. We have given the data provider annotation. We have given the name to it. That's it. Our data provider is completely done. Now let us use this data provider at the test case level. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention data provider. This is the parameter that we have. Inside this parameter, we should mention the name of data provider. So what is the name of data provider? This is. So let us copy it and paste it over here. Then comma, and we should give another parameter and its name is data provider class. Why we need to give this? Because our data provider is lying inside different class. Okay, so here we have to mention the name of data provider along with its package. Why? Because it is altogether in a different package. Okay, so let us copy this package here and then let us copy the name of class. Okay, sorry, just giving the error. And dot class we need to give over here. That's it. Okay, so let us remove this one from here. So we don't have to give the package name. It will automatically identify where this class is located. Perfect. Now we have four parameters, okay, provided by this data provider over here. So let's try creating them over here. String, let's say maybe serial number, string name, string phone number, and then string city. And simply print all of those parameters over here. Okay, sr number plus, so let me print them like that, separated by the tab. Okay, and then name plus slash t plus ph number plus, again separated by tab. Okay, plus and then city. That's it. So what will happen over here? This test case will be executed. It will ask data provider to provide data from this class. So it will jump over here. After jumping over here, the internal call is made to this method, that is read XL. So again, program will jump on this class. Here it will come and it will try to execute this method. And after executing this method, it will return the content array to data provider. After returning the content array, it will be saved inside data array, and this data array will be supplied to the test case one by one. So let's execute this. Okay, so we have an error over here and no class def found error have been appeared. So J commander jar we need to add. Okay, so whenever you get this kind of error, no class def found error, you should quickly understand that we are missing or we are lacking with some jar. So you can read over here the name of package com.bust/jcommander/parameter exception. So for the testng latest versions, we require jcommander jar. So let's build our project with the jcommander jar. So let me see if I have the jcommander jar in my computer. So jar, yeah, jcommander I have. Apply and then hit OK. That's it. Can you see? 4 runs are there. Okay, can you see? 4 runs are there. Why 4 runs? Because 4 rows are there. Okay, and first row is passed. Okay, so let me show you the report of it so that you can judge by the report that what is being happening over here. So let me open this emailable report from the properties, and then this location. Here is the location. Let's open this file and in the Google Chrome. Perfect. So M1, 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 M1 is executed 4 times over here, passed 4 times. Okay, skipped 0, failed 0, and the total time taken is 382 milliseconds. Okay, and if I come over here, test case sample test dot M1, okay, is executed for this parameter 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the first test case. Remember, the method is same. Okay, test method or test case method is same, but the same method is executed 4 times. And you see here M1 method we have, and this method is executed 4 times. Why? Because the data provider had 4 datas to be tested against. Okay, and how we know that 4 datas are there? Because there were 4 rows inside the Excel sheet. So the number of rows will be equivalent to the number of test cases, in roughly we can say like that. Okay, so number of rows are equivalent to the number of test cases. Okay, so this same test case will execute 4 times and will be marked as different test case for different data. Okay, for one pair of data, one test case. For second pair of data, same test case will be executed again. Its result will be calculated differently. Then again, next pair of data will come. The same test case will execute with the new data, and its entry will be marked with the new data. And this is what happening in the report. So observe over here. This is the first instance of the execution with these many parameters. Parameter 1, 2, 3, 4. Serial number, name, phone number, and city. Then we have M1 test case executed again for parameter 2, Sachin, and this, and then again for parameter 3. Okay, and that parameter is 1, Avinash, and so on. Again, M1 is executed with different parameter. Parameter number 1 is 3, parameter number 2 is Xavier, parameter 3 is this phone number, parameter 4 is this number. So this is how your one test case is executed 4 times. Why? Because there were 4 rows or maybe 4 test datas to be tested against one test case. So this is how we can use data provider along with Excel sheet, where we can have data inside Excel sheet. We can read that data from Excel sheet. We can load data inside data provider, and data provider will provide the entire set of data to the test case, and entire set of data will be tested against one test case. So let me quickly summarize the number of classes that we have used over here. So first class we have used is workbook. Okay, and this abstract class is used to represent to the .xls file, xls workbook. Okay, then we have seen the sheet. It is the interface. Okay, it is the interface of JXL, and it is used to represent a sheet inside workbook. Okay, how we can point to the sheet? We have get sheet method inside workbook abstract class, and this method is overloaded. First version of it takes integer index of the sheet, and second version of it takes string name of the sheet. Okay, then inside sheet interface we have a method called as getCell, and using this get cell method we can actually get the instance of type cell. Okay, after getting the cell we have one more interface, and its name is cell. Okay, its name is cell. So this is an interface of JXL. Okay, it is used to represent the cell, okay, where row and column meets. Okay, then to get a content or to get data from this cell, we have method to get data from cell. We have which method? Get contents. Get contents is the method we have, and return type of this method is to get data from cell. We have get contents method. Its return type is string. Okay, so it can only get the data from Excel sheet as a string. Okay, so numbers will not be recognized differently, blank values will not be recognized differently, as well as formulas will not be recognized differently. This is the drawback of JXL, where it can read only string values. So this is all about the JXL and providing the data from Excel file to the test cases by means of Excel sheet handling of the JXL. So do you guys have any questions?